In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make these lemon curd Linzer cookies that are perfect for Valentine's Day or any other day of the year. Now, I've already pre-made my 1, 2, 3 cookie dough. If you want to see how to make this, you can watch this video up here and it'll also be linked down below. As you can see in that video, I've added some grated lemon zest to the actual dough to give it a bit of a lemon flavor because these are going to be lemon curd cookies, so it kind of fits the theme. So now that this cookie dough is nice and chilled and ready to be rolled out, I'm going to just simply dust my surface with some flour and then roll it out so it's nice and even. I'm going to give it one quick knead to make sure everything's the same temperature and it'll be nice and even. To cut out the cookies, I'm going to be using a heart, but you can also use one of these ones that has kind of like the rounded little edges that looks kind of like a flower, I guess. This is very typical for a Linzer cookie, but I want to go with the heart. For the Linzer cookies, you're going to need 1 cookie at the bottom and 1 cookie at the top. The cookie at the top usually gets something cut out as well, where the jam or the lemon curd kind of shows through. To do that, I'm going to be using these round piping tips. But I'll show you that right away. Now all I'm going to do is cut out as many heart-shaped cookies as I possibly can and lay them onto my prepared baking sheets. Now you want to make sure that you have an even amount of cookies, since you're always going to have 1 at the bottom and 1 on top. So you want to make sure you have an even amount of cookies that are heart-shaped and then the cookies that are heart-shaped that have a design cut out of them. And sometimes the cookies might not want to really budge from underneath here. In that case, I always use a palette knife to slightly go underneath the dough to help me get the cookie off and onto my baking sheet. A little trick to try and get the most out of your dough is to start from the outside and then work your way inside. That way you're getting the most cookies you can out of each roll. So now that I've cut out as many as I can out of this little slab of cookie dough, I'm going to remove them and place them onto my tray. This one already came out, but for the other ones, like I said, I'm going to very carefully use my palette knife to go underneath it and lift it up. You can also kind of remove any dough from the outside really carefully and just put it into a pile. That way the hearts will be really easy to remove as well. I've got the first tray of cookies all done and I've got them all partnered up. So now I'm going to start by cutting out any of the little designs that I want. I'm just going to play around with this and then just show you whatever I decide on. Okay, after some trial and error, I think I really like this design. So I used the bigger one on the top and then I used this really small round piping tip to make another 2 small ones. I'm just going to do this to both top rows and then I'll continue rolling out the cookies. going to repeat all of that until I have no more dough left. Alright, so I'm all done cutting out the cookies. So I've got one tray of all the cookies that are going to be at the bottom and one tray of cookies that are going to be at the top. So now I'm going to put these into the fridge to chill until the oven is preheated to 180 degrees Celsius or 360 degrees Fahrenheit. By putting these in the fridge, it just allows the dough to get nice and cold again. That way they're not going to run all over the place once they go into the oven. The oven's all preheated now, so I just grabbed the cookies out of the fridge. I'm just gonna bake these for 12 to 15 minutes now, or until they're slightly brown and golden. Filling, you're going to need 75 grams of sugar, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, 1 egg, the juice and the peel of 2 lemons, preferably organic, and then 75 grams of butter. We're going to set the butter aside for now, and all we're going to do is add all of these ingredients into a pot and then heat it up on medium heat for 10 minutes until it's nice and thick. You don't want this to boil because else your egg is going to scramble and you do not want that. Now for the lemons, you only want to take off the yellow part and not the white part. The white part is rather bitter, so you don't want that. Just try and get off as much as you can to get the most flavor. Now I usually rub it 3 times on each spot, so like 1, 2, 3, and then I move on. That way I get most of the yellow part, but none of the white. This is about how much I got from these 2 lemons. And just make sure to give it one good mix before you start heating it. I just took the lemon curd off the heat and it's thickened up a little bit, which is what you want. It's gonna have the consistency kind of applesauce, so it's not gonna be completely thick, so don't worry about it. The butter in the end will make it be really thick. So now all we're going to do is strain this to make sure we get all of that lemon peel out and any chunks that might be in it. And then we're just gonna cover it with plastic wrap and let it cool down completely. just gonna scrape off any of that from the bottom, just to make sure we're getting as much as we can. The plastic wrap is just gonna prevent a film from forming at the top, which would kind of ruin it for us. So by doing this, it'll keep it all nice and fresh. And now I'm just going to put this on the side for a couple of minutes to let it cool down before I slowly add in the butter. The lemon curd is now only lukewarm, so at this point I'm going to add in a little bit of my butter at a time and whisk it in. I just transferred all the lemon curd into this little tupper, and I'm just going to place this in the fridge to completely chill while I get the rest of the decorations ready. And the consistency is going to be kind of like this. So it's still a little bit runny, but as soon as it gets nice and cold, the butter will thicken again and harden, and this will become a lot thicker than it is now. I couldn't decide on a way to decorate these cookies, so now I'm going to do both ways. So on half of the tops, I'm just going to dust them with powdered sugar, which is like a typical Linzer cookie. And on the other half, I've melted down some white chocolate with some coconut oil. And just using a plastic bag, I'm going to cut off the top and just drizzle a tiny bit onto each cookie. After that's all done, we just have to pipe on some of that lemon curd into the center of each cookie. You can either use a spoon or a plastic bag as well where you cut the top off. And then we just have to carefully place the other cookie right on top. And when you squeeze down a tiny bit, the lemon curd should come out of the little tiny holes. Lemon curd is all cooled down now, and it should kind of have this consistency. So now I'm just going to fill this into either a piping bag or, in my case, a little plastic bag. A little trick I have for you for that is to put your plastic bag around a glass and then just pour it in. That way you don't need a second person to hold the bag open for you so it doesn't go everywhere. Now, if you have any of this lemon curd left over, you can either just put it in your fridge and save it for any other time you want to use it, or you can also add it into your yogurts or any other thing that you would think would taste good. Now, we're basically going to do the same thing that we did with the white chocolate, cut off the little tip, and then just pipe a little bit onto each cookie. I like getting most of the air out and trying to push everything towards one tip. The cookies are all done now, they're all decorated. So I'm just going to let these cool off for a little bit and let everything set, especially the white chocolate. And then I'm probably just going to transfer it into a tupper and then put it in the fridge. I'm just storing these in the fridge because of the lemon curd, because there's egg and butter in it. I don't want them to go bad overnight, so I'm just going to put them in the fridge. Better safe than sorry, and then just enjoy them whenever I'm ready to eat them.